Hello, everyone. Welcome to Man Manga Boys, Man Manga special review session with Prof Otaku. I don't know if this is going over to the right side, but I hope it is. Say hi to everybody, Prof.
Hello, everybody. It is good to be on Man Manga Boys channel.
Excellent. Glad to have you here. So before we get into this series, there was a little bit of a controversy that happened with Yuuna and the Haunted Hot Spring. And believe it or not, it's not just the Haunted Hot Spring. That's the spiciest part of this whole saga here. We have prints that came from Seven Seas that is fairly new, and they're from Hong Kong. And these guys, they're tough to open. I talked a little bit about it in my unboxing if that came out yet. It might not have, I don't know. But these guys are a pain to open up. And so I think both of our first volumes had the same kind of a Hong Kong print. And the issue with it is now that I've opened it up, it's not so bad. It's actually pretty reasonable. But it was a pain when I first got it. And I even had asked other people about it. So I was asking Tony Reads Manga. I was like, what do you think about this? Because I saw that she had posted something about it online on one of her Instagram stories. And she had told me that she really liked how they looked, but she felt like it was terrible how they read. And she can't believe that people were trying to get like the Tokyo Revengers qualities of these things. Did you ever get the Tokyo Revengers version of this?
No, well, so the Kino Kaniya exclusive version had that type of print. And then I know that some people got the normal, like, newspaper one for volume one, but then they also made the normal really clear or the really white paper for volume one, and it's just been alternating. So it's just like a lottery, basically. Which one are you gonna get? But I think that the biggest issue, and I think when people grab these, like you and I both have the same issue, you open it and you're like, oh, this feels terrible, because that binding is so tight. But like my fear was like, am I going to crack the spine because it was so tight? And, you know, with these single volumes, it's fine. But those new Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer reprints, I just can't imagine how you're going to be able to read those without cracking the spine. Super glad I have the like OG printing, because I wouldn't be able to deal with that, to be honest with you.
Right. Same. And for people who don't know, Prof actually sold me a few of those.
That's right. When I saw the reprint, I was like, man, we got to go back like 2 years ago, because that's when we did all this stuff.
Right,
so it's like...
right. It's just wild how it all comes full circle like that in life. You know, you just never would expect it. Anyways, so I just wanted to talk about that in case, you know, people who are watching this, they also get these reprints and they're like, man, what is with this stuff? Because it's kind of unusual compared to what we're used to. Anyways, so the main story of Yuuna the Hot Springs is a little bizarre, but I'll have you kind of introduce it for us, Prof. Tell us about the main plot of Yuuna the Hot Springs.
Sure. So we've got a very nice gentleman, and he is a psychic, and he has the ability to see ghosts, and he's basically somebody who like exorcises these spirits. And so one day he's kind of down in his luck. He's, you know, financially burdened, and he's looking for a place to live, and he ends up going into this hot spring, and he gets rented a room, and in this room is a ghost named Yuuna, and she hasn't passed on to the other side. She has things that she wants to do in this world, and so basically it's about him living in this hot spring with Yuuna and trying to accomplish this goal of getting her to pass on to the other side. And then of course there's all these other types of spirits and ghosts and monsters that all live in this hot spring, and it's one beautiful happy family, PG rated.
PG rated is right. PG is right, and by PG I mean no parents.
R18.
Yeah, R18, absolutely. And obviously, as you would probably expect, the plot means very little to you know, the whole story, at least for the first 3 volumes for the most part. It's really just a setup to get this guy into this haunted hot spring with these yokai-esque, you know, women. And they all seem like they're human at first, but then you slowly kind of realize, I think by volume 2, that only one of them is really a human, and she's like a Kanochi. I don't know how to say that correctly, but she's part of the Demon Slayer Corps. From, you know, Demon Slayer, of course. She's
yeah, it's the crossover nobody asked for.
Yeah, the crossover nobody asked for. You can see she's got shuriken little hairpiece right there. I didn't realize that's what that was, and she's got a kunai behind her. But then I was like, oh shit, now it all makes sense. So yeah, so she's a ninja. She's over there slaying demons, which also exists in this world. It's got all these kind of demons, and honestly, whatever actually she's in, this girl right here, let's see, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I think it's like a Bani or something like that. Ameno Sugiri. Whenever she's in it, I'm actually more interested in the series because there's stakes. You know, I feel like there's this demon thing. It looks pretty good because the art's not bad in here. The artist definitely knows what they're doing. They definitely looked at many a hentai before, and you know they've got their anatomy down and they know how to draw monsters. And so I'm thinking like, oh damn, there's some stakes. People are gonna get hurt, but you know, obviously our main character dude comes in straight OPMs, guys. You know, he's just one punch man. Bah!
Right.
And
Oh
they're
yeah.
gone, like immediately. And I'm like, all right, well there goes the stakes. And like she's like struggling, and obviously she's being stripped as this is going on through the fights. But it's nice to kind of get that little bit of a shakeup because otherwise it's kind of like a slice of life series. You know, we get him at school, him at the hot spring, and kind of his life with these girls. And these, if you have ever seen Prison School, you know that there's or read rather, there's these Ruth Goldboob tracks or whatever that happened to this one girl. Well, that's every girl in this series happens, and he's the center of it. So they all happen to him.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, and it's interesting because, you know, when you think of like a harem rom-com series, now I was thinking of like what I've read of this genre before. So quintessential quintuplets.
Yep.
We Never Learn, in terms of like, I mean, that's kind of ecchi. And then like Chain Soldier. I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head, but like why I enjoyed Chain Soldier a lot compared to We Never Learn, which I dropped, and then Quintessential, which I read, I enjoyed, but I sold it off, was this fantasy element to it. It just added another layer that's just super interesting, and it allows you to be able to approach the story in many different ways. And so that's why I like Yuuna and the Haunted Hot Springs, is because yeah, we get the slice of life stuff, but then we have the battles, which make it action packed and fun, and then we get the ecchi stuff, which of course is Shonen Jump Dream, you know. And so I think there's a lot of good things going for it that keep me interested, because if it wasn't there, then it would be something like We Never Learn, which I just gave up after 16 volumes. I didn't even bother to finish it out at 21 because I was like, I don't care about what happens, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. I did not give two craps either about most harem manga, honestly. Even Quince, I was like kind of over it towards the end, you know? I was like,
well, thankfully it was just short enough for me. By the time I started getting, okay, like whatever is about to happen, it was over. And right.
It's like only like 14 volumes, and this is like 24. So I can kind of see where that makes sense now. But the main thing is you definitely have to get through a ton of fan service. Just because we're saying this does shake it up, and it does shake up the formula quite a bit, there is a ton of fan service. They are not shy, except they will not show you no only boobies, okay?
Yeah.
Titties
and
everywhere.
I do like that it's not censored, because I'm assuming it was censored when it was running in Shonen Jump.
I don't think so. I don't
really
think so.
Do you think it was okay? Wow. I don't know
positive.
how. I'm not sure how that works. And like, you know, 7C's picking this up instead of Viz publishing it or whatever.
Viz would have never published this without censoring it. But Ayakashi Triangle.
Well, think Ayakashi Triangle, same deal. Yeah.
They censored it in the Viz digital release, and it's caused a big stir because it wasn't censored in the original. And so a lot of people liked the fan translations more because obviously they used the Japanese ROM.
Right.
And so people were like, yeah, I'm going to stick with this one because
sure,
not censored, dog.
Right. Yeah. But, you know, yes, there's a lot of fan service, but what I appreciate about this compared to We Never Learn is that the fan service aspects like make sense with the story.
Right.
And the way the scenarios work out, and it just happens. It's like these fan service things happen. You're like, okay, yeah, like there's a monster that like rips off their clothes or whatever. Like, yeah, okay, I get that. You know, with We Never Learn, I just hated that it was like, oops, I tripped up, you know, clothes off, you know, and I was like, you know, after the 50th time, I really just don't. This just seems a little nuts at this point, you know. So
that's not to say that this isn't in the Yuuna and the Hot Spring, mind you.
Right.
That exact scenario is in Yuuna and the Hot Spring because they're wearing their bathrobes everywhere.
Oh,
oops, I slipped on the soul. Oh no! You know?
Oh no! And then I turn around. Oh, somebody's ripping off the underwear. It's like, okay.
So that still is in there, but yeah, I agree.
but there's different angles.
Right.
There's different angles, and so it helps keep this going because I was scared that I was going to read these first 3 volumes and go, I don't want to read any more of this, like it's just going to be the same thing, but I'm interested enough to keep going with it. So it's a very positive take.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree that I'm definitely going to keep going with it, which is good because I bought 20 volumes of it at once.
You bought 20?
20 volumes. 1 through 20.
So what you have 1 to 20? Oh, okay, gotcha. Where did you get the other 2 volumes that were like that were not on the sale?
So of course I followed my guidance sage vice, Prof Otaku, and I used AliExpress
nice
for the other 2 volumes that weren't on sale. I guess Bright Stuff didn't want to put them on sale since they weren't in stock, which makes sense. The whole point of these sales tends to be to kind of free up space in the storage warehouse. At least I'm assuming. I don't work there, but maybe I could. I don't know. Anyways, they I don't know. So that's kind of an annoying thing that Right Stuff does. And I think the sale is probably still going to be going on by the time I upload this video. So if you guys are interested in the series, definitely pick it out then. I definitely think it's a good time. There is a bit of controversy to it besides the printing. And I don't know if you had known this, Prof, but I know it seems weird, but even in Japan, they had issues with censorship with this series. There was a lawyer who was urging parents to not have their sons read these magazines because they were saying that it's kind of painting sexual harassment in a positive way, and it's causing a bigger issue. And then there was a gender studies professor at Osaka University, apparently, who felt that it was making young males see women as objects. And then there was also, on the other side of it, a sculptor, and this woman is like a huge feminist in the Japanese community, apparently, named Megumi Igarashi, and she sculpts pictures of vulvas, apparently, and her own vulva and everything like that, and says that parents have a ridiculous ego and are trying to keep children innocent forever, and it's just like totally absurd. And a few other manga artists kind of echoed a similar thing, saying that people who are trying to cancel the series are stupid because it's a nonsense series that nobody should take seriously. But I can see both sides of that argument because this definitely, in my opinion, paints sexual harassment in an interesting way. Not that we need to get at that topic or anything like that.
No, but I get that because these things happen, these fan services, sexual harassment type of things, and they're just kind of like that. Especially the female characters just kind of like shrug it off, and they move on, and there's like nothing wrong with it.
Right.
I get that. And I get that in 2022 we have changed a lot in society in the last 5-6 years. Where things have changed a lot. But I think that with manga. And this is a big controversy with like Sensei's Pious Lie. Have you read that one?
No, I picked it up though. So
you did on the sale, on the Right Stuff sale. Oh, nice, good. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts because I think that manga needs to just everything has its own little corner and it needs to stay in that corner. And the people who pick up these series should be educated to know what they're kind of getting into. Sensei's Pious Lie is a very strong depiction of sexual assault and sexual violence, the repercussions of that, the female mentality and the recovery process off of that. It's very much a woman empowerment manga, but like looked in a really raw way. And that's what I love about it. And it made me feel a lot of really strong emotions, which is the reason why it's in my top 10 manga of 2022. But Yuuna and the Haunted Hot Springs is not that. And it should never be like, and it should never be looked at it like that. It should just be, look, these are girls hanging out in a hot spring and their boobs are showing. And that's all. And it needs to be a turn your brain off read. And it shouldn't be looked past that at all.
Absolutely.
I don't think manga is going super severely in that direction. At least in the US, it's not. I mean, people are just reading it to enjoy it. The weeb culture isn't super divisive.
Right.
I mean, other than like josei shoujo readers versus seinen shonen jump readers, but that's a different battle for a different day.
Completely.
But yeah, I mean, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, it's just an interesting thing that even Japan is having interesting issues with censorship. I mean, it's one of those countries where we kind of perceive it, at least my friend group has always perceived it as a place where like censorship is one of those things that doesn't get in the way of art or storytelling, typically anyways. Like I feel like most mangaka can get away with most things. There are like loose guidelines that if you're popular enough, maybe you can skirt around them a little bit. But even there, like, series where it was fairly a popular series in Japan, they still get hit with these little controversy things like that, which I was very surprised about. Not something I really knew about Japan, but it's quite the duality of a Right Stuff Summer Sale having both, or Holiday Sale having both Sensei's Pious Lie and Yuuna on the Hot Spring in the same sale.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Wow.
For sure. Yeah.
All right, so the main plot overall of the story, getting off that topic, is that we're trying to get Yuuna to kind of cross over to the other side because currently she's haunting the room that our main character Kogarashi is inhabiting. That's how he got the room so cheap, is because it's haunted. So what do you think's going to be happening with that, Prof?
Well, I think my biggest issue of the whole series in general is that in these first 3 volumes, we get that, like, hey, here's the idea of the whole series. And we just don't get it anymore in the next 3 volumes. And I was kind of hoping this would kind of go in a direction of Zom 100, where it's kind of like a bucket list type of thing. Like she wants to do this, then she's going to do this, then she's going to do this. And if we accomplish all these things, then she'll pass on to the other side. But honestly, it's more dived into side character interactions with our MC than actually Yuuna. I mean, Yuna's just doing her thing, floating around, interacting. So I feel like the plot itself, like the main idea, has just been lost. And I think that's why, number one, why this series is too long at 24 volumes. I just think it's going to be too long. And number 2, why the series is rated so low on my anime list, because it's I think it's like a 7.13, and I think it's because they lost that main plot. That is what I'm most concerned about moving forward, is that we're not going to get any sort of progression with the storyline, and it's going to get boring.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me, and it's somewhat similar to, but not really at all, but like the concept of this plot is to Nisekoi, where are we going to figure out, where does this key go? This girl's got a lock, this guy's got a key. Is he ever just going to like fucking try it? Like, you know what I mean? Is he ever just going to like try to like, it works or it doesn't? So I kind of get like the same vibe where that plot line is like, brought up once in a while, but it doesn't go anywhere. It's just like they dangle the carrot. They're like, look at this, you fucking reader. Like, you're gonna buy it. It's like, maybe
are we gonna do it now? Nope, we're gonna do it in volume 20. So you gotta buy 19 other volumes.
They introduce like another, like, oh, here's a kink in this situation, a girl with another lock, and like in Nisekoi they come into the issue where there's like 4 different girls with these locks. And I haven't finished it yet to even know what goes on. I took like a break on it because I was like, are you kidding me? She's got a lock too? Like, there's another lock?
Right.
So I feel like Yuuna and the Haunted Hot Spring is kind of going that same way, where the plot is like, it's present, it's there to just get this guy in the hot spring, and it won't probably be addressed again until volume 22.
Right.
Or something like that, like wait toward the end.
And that's too bad, because I think that might be the main thing that makes me not keep this series in my collection. It's going to be worth a read and it better be, I already bought it, but it's not going to be something that I may reread in the future, just because it just keeps dragging on, unless I just really am enamored with the characters enough and enamored with the fan service enough to just have it in the collection. And then if I do a reread, I'm doing a one-off, like just reading one, taking a little break, read another one when I want something like that, yada yada yada. So because I don't have that many ecchi series in my collection anyway, so this is a very new dabble for me.
You know what I thought was really cool, and I actually just opened this page like total happenstance, was this character right here. It's all mirrored, so you guys probably can't read it, but the Black Ryujin, there's these, I think there was like 4 heavenly dragons or something like that. And the Black Ryujin is one of like the main gods. And one of his subordinates ends up joining Koga and the Hot Springs. And it's not too much of a spoiler in my opinion, because I think volume 4 literally has her on the cover of it that she's going to be a recurring character. So it's an interesting thing because I want to know more about this guy, and he's got like a few chapters dedicated to in volume 2, and I'm hopeful that he shows up more and has something to do with Yuuna and why she's stuck there, or maybe he's like the one that will turn them into an evil spirit. I don't know.
And I think that's what makes this series great is that, yes, it was definitely episodic at the beginning, but then we're starting, especially right at volume 2, we already started getting some full-fledged multi-chapter arcs, mini arcs, and I think it works well. And then in volume 3, we get half and half episodic, half multi-chapter arc. And I think if it can continue to do that, I think this has a lot of potential to keep my interest, because it's not just one thing, then another character, and another child, and another character. And there's actually some context here, so that's another positive in terms of the storytelling.
Yeah, no, definitely it is. So who do you think he's gonna end up with? Not who's your favorite. Who do you think he's gonna end up with?
Is that the point of the story, though? Do you think there will be a romantic finish to this?
Are you kidding me?
I'll be honest with you. I think it's gonna be one of those things where he's like, we're all friends. Yuuna saved. We're going home. I don't think this is gonna end up with, hey, we're dating somebody at the end of this. I don't think so.
News for you, man. I would bet money that this is going to turn into a harem brawl where we're trying to get to have the number one girl date this guy.
Nah,
and just be married
I don't think
forever.
So.
Yeah,
I don't think so, because
going that way.
Really, I just don't think so.
I would guarantee it.
It doesn't give me that vibes of QQ, like with Quintessential, it was like, look, he marries one of these girls. We're gonna find out who in 14 volumes. With this one, I mean, yeah, he's like, oh, like I feel awkward, like being around these girls, and like I'm gonna save myself for the one I love or whatever. But I don't know. I just don't think that's gonna be where this story ends. I think they're just all gonna be friends. I mean, I still want to hold out hope that the main goal of this story, which is to get Yuuna to pass on, will actually happen. But who knows? It's 24 volumes. They could flip the whole world upside down or something. She might get like reincarnated. I don't know. It could be something crazy. So
that is actually a good thought I didn't have. So if you had to pick, which you do, because I'm putting you on the spot right now, against the wall, you have to pick a girl he's dating by the end of the series. Who is it? At least so far, because there's probably gonna be more girls later. Who's he dating?
Oh, sure. Well, there's already a lot already. I think by the end of volume 3, we've got like 8, right?
I mean, there are girls
like
on these covers I've never seen. Like, who the fuck is this? So they're coming. I guarantee you they're coming.
Well, I would say Yuuna, but I think Yuuna would be more of a friend. It honestly, it might be our real human chick right here.
That's who I'm thinking it's gonna be.
I think she might be the winner, because he actually, I mean, immediately he shows romantic interest to her.
Right.
And I think that she's got the most, and because she's a human, I think there's the most potential there. I think with Yuuna, it's just not very likely, just because I don't think he sees her like that. I think he sees her as like more of like a brother sister type of relationship, like I'm trying to help her out or whatever.
Yeah, like he's trying to help out a friend or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's her whole thing, is she's stuck here. I mean, does she really want to pass on? I don't really even know. But that is the plot that we're given.
What does she want? Because she was like, she's like, first of all, she's like, I need to do stuff to pass on, and then we don't even know what that is. She never even says it again. I'm assuming it's like, oh, I just want like a friend or something. Like, I thought that was kind of the vibe, but then it's like, okay, well, you got enough friends, so like, is it over?
Because it's a harem, dude. I think it's because she wants to find true love, and that's what she's holding on to.
She's just not telling. She's not telling anybody.
She's not telling anyone, man. And so, like, she has to find true love and confess it. But I don't think she's going to be falling for our main character, which is a little, I guess, probably controversial, because it seems so obvious that the titular character would end up with the main character.
Sure.
Which, it's funny that the titular character isn't the main character, but it is the situation we find ourselves in. And so I think it's kind of like a red herring. I don't think it's going to be her. But then you said she's probably going to reincarnate. And I'm like, oh, shit.
I was totally just like throwing just a hat in the ring. Like, I don't, I could see the story just doing something real crazy, because we really don't know. I mean, we know we got to get her to cross over to the other side. Other than that, in the first 3 volumes, I mean, that's all we got. I mean, there's so many directions this series can take. So there's another aspect of why you should continue reading this series or pick the series up, is because we don't know. But yeah, you know, maybe it might be one of those things where Yuna's just like, I have so much connection now to the physical world that I don't want to go over, and I want to stay with all my friends. And then they find some sort of mystical god, and then the god is like, you do these things and Yuna will be able to become a human again. She'll get put back into the world. That could definitely be a possibility, which I just threw out in this video because it just came to me on a glimpse of Prof Otaku inspiration.
Dude, those kind of dormant thoughts here, man, that is where genius comes from. Okay, that's where genius sleeps. These little thoughts in the back of our head that we're just saying without even thinking about it, that's genius. That's what that is. But
that's why we don't script videos.
That's why we don't script videos. But the thing is I bet you he's gonna get her to pass volume 20, 22, now that you said that, and he's going to go through this gauntlet of challenges with Ninja Clan, and they are going to get Yuna back and bring her back to the hot spring, and she'll be a real girl. It'll be just like Pinocchio that just came out on Netflix by Guillermo del Toro, and it'll be this horrible, horrifying thing. She'll be her cutesy normal self, and they'll live happily ever after.
There you go.
And if that's what happens, then he's probably going with her. But I agree with you 100%. I think it is definitely going to be this girl if she passes off to the other side very easily.
Yeah.
But I guess that's a good point, though. I shouldn't just assume that she's going to do that. Oh, and something else is kind of odd with this character, which is, I think, going to be a big issue, not with Yuna, but with our main character, Kogarashi, is the fact that he's like a spirit medium. He's not just a psychic, he's like a spirit medium. If anyone's ever read Shaman King and they've seen Yo kind of get possessed by the spirits and then he gets their skills while he's possessed, it's kind of like that, where except he holds on to it. So he gets possessed by like I think the main one is the person who's really good spiritual exorcist or whatever, right? I think that's what the explanation was. That's how he was so good at it. And so like he has these like random abilities that he can just call on.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I like it. I wish it was explained a little bit more than just like one panel, you know, because I think that is what makes him pretty interesting, because other than that, he's a pretty, well, I mean, like all harem boy main characters, he's a pretty shallow main character. You know, there's not much to him, but that at least is what makes him pretty interesting. So that'd be kind of cool to explore more or whatever, but maybe we'll see more of that in the future. So I hope so. But we get a lot of it already in the first 3 volumes, so that's pretty cool.
Right now he's a walking Deus Ex Machina, in my opinion. Yeah. There's a problem, you can't solve it. This dude, I was possessed by this guy like a while back, I don't know, and like that's that. You know, it's like,
I'm surprised with how strong he is, because the vibe he gave off at like the very beginning, I was like, oh, this guy's not gonna be able to do anything. Like he's just super weak. But no, this guy's like super OP. It's like, it's nice.
Saitama, yeah. He's just straight up Saitama.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So obviously you're gonna continue reading this at least past volume 3. Yeah. So where do you think this stands? Do you think this has more promise to you than something like Quintessential Quintuplets, or do you think like it's like in the medium, or too kind of hard to say?
I think that Quintessential Quintuplets is in a category of its own, because not in terms of just like ranking, like it's just in its own S tier. I'm saying like in terms of harem romances, it's in its own category, because it takes such a different vibe compared to everything else. It's way more overarching. The character development is just really strong from the get-go. I just think that the storytelling with Quintessential Quintuplets is the better direction of what people want to see with harem series, which is a more serious take with longer arcs and stuff like that. This is very much a turn your brain off harem, like you know, episodic. You can't try to grab for any substance here. Where would I put this on a scale of 1 to 10? I would put this at like a 7. 7.3 right now, so pretty close to that My Anime List rating, to be honest with you.
I would say I'm pretty close to you there. I'd call it like a 7.0, pretty hard, like maybe even a little lower. And the only reason why I have it there is because I have my hesitations, because I've read through other Jump titles and they've led me down these paths of just nonsense, and I was just like so sick of it. And so I have these like I was mentioning with Nisekoi, these little mini flashbacks of being hurt before by Shonen Jump. And
sure.
And so
the 7.3 comes from a place of hope. Yeah. But the expectation is that it's just going to go down from here. Definitely. I mean, that's just at 24 volumes. I just don't see this going past a 7.5. To be honest with you, with the vibe that it's set up.
Unless they like really blow up that world, which they totally could.
I don't know.
Absolutely do it. But will they? I don't know. It got popular for a reason, and it could have just been because of two things: TNA, or it could have been because it was able to build a decent world. But
well, we didn't even talk about who the best girl was.
Oh yes, girl. That's right. I almost forgot because I got caught up in the other thing. So best girl for me would probably be Ninja Girl. Okay.
And really? I don't like her at all. I think she's the worst one.
Why?
I don't know, her looks.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. You know, her looks. Yeah, definitely. Oh man, you're lucky I don't have the little raccoon girl right over here. Oh, I guess I do.
Look, the Tanuki girl. No. No, she's a throwaway character. She's absolutely. Like, now her vibe is really funny though. I like her vibe. Like I just want boobs, and I'm like, okay, like that's pretty funny. Like
it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But so
why do you like the ninja girl?
I don't like the ninja girl. It's kind of like not really to do with the ninja girl so much. Even though I think she's best girl, it's just because I think she's like the most interesting girl. I think like. You know, she's a tsundere, I suppose, you know, but she's also kind of not, and she also has probably the only backstory I'm interested in. Like, okay, you know, the other girl, she's the older, she's I think an oni. I don't really care about her, really at all. Yuuna,
you're talking about the girl with the glasses, right?
I think she has got glasses. Let's see.
The one with the one horn.
Yeah, the one horn. Yeah, she's got glasses.
Yeah, no, I don't care about her either.
Yeah, no, she's meh. And then the same thing with Yaya. Yaya, it's like I don't really like cat girls. Oh, I can see this guy's best girl. Funny. Yaya.
Because Yaya is my best girl. Actually, I think Yaya's best girl for me, to be honest with you.
God damn it.
And like it's like super shallow because she's a super shallow character, and you know she ain't going to develop past her whatever we've presented in the first 3 volumes. But like I don't know, like
take it away.
I just like no, I know. And then my cat's sitting up here right now. He's sitting on the side. He's like he's like terrified. You know, he's like what's dad gonna do? Like, you know, but. But I don't know. Like I just like her interactions with the MC. And I like that her personality is just like really just like I just like food and like just I mean she's basically like a cat, and like I don't know, I just like okay, like yeah, that's fine. Like it's not even like because you know obviously there's an ecchi vibe, but like my interest in her from a best girl doesn't even come from that aspect. It's just I just like her personality, and I don't like the ninja girl personality because she's so like abrasive, and I guess like that just like totally just like puts me off. Like whatever.
Yeah, I don't blame you about that one bit. You know, I could definitely. If I had a little bit more to choose from, I might not pick the ninja girl. But when our options are girl who is like, you know, the human girl who is just like overly against everything and like gets really embarrassed easily, Yuuna who's just like, I don't even know how to explain Yuuna.
A space cadet. Yeah, I see her as like a total like.
We know the least about Yuuna. Her personality is always just like, I don't know what's going on. And she's the main character somehow. And then we've got the raccoon girl who's just like out of here. We are introduced to Oboro in volume 2 and 3, and she is pretty much like Meruko. Is it Miroku from Inuyasha? who's just trying to have a kid. You know, that's her whole thing. It's the same thing as the Wind Tunnel Man. Okay, from Inuyasha is she's just trying to have a kid, just like he's trying to have a kid. And then there's the mangaka who's the Oni, and the spa owner, I guess, is the other girl, right? Chito.
Yeah, the owner
the luck
or the
person?
innkeeper. Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know, man.
Slim pickings.
Absolutely, slim pickings.
Slim pickings.
Yeah. But
and speaking of like Yuuna, what do you think of the translation of this?
Oh, dude, it's kind of weird, actually.
Yeah, don't you think?
Yeah,
when they say those weird words like crikeys or like
jinkies a lot.
Jinky. Like I'm like, am I watching an episode of Scooby Doo? Like what is?
I was like, what? She's a ghost? Like I was like, why is she saying jinkies all the time? What the fuck is this about, dude? She died watching Scooby Doo. She choked out a potato chip and died, and she's hanging on to life because she's trying to figure the last episode of Scooby Doo or the movie. She wants to see who's the villain. Like that's what it is, dude. She's waiting to figure out who's the villain of Scooby Doo the movie one, dude. And when she finds out it's Scrappy Doo, bam, she's an evil spirit.
She's coming back. She's gonna get reincarnated. It'll be the sequel. Her killing Scrappy Doo in the sequel. Yeah. That's where the story's going. Right, mark it down here. Man, Manga Boy Prophet just called out what the next sequel is gonna be. I don't know. And it's not just the jinkies. There's other like trigger words that they use. And I was reading it and I was like, man, this is so corny. Like it's just weird verbiage. I don't know why they chose it. I don't know if the translation was off or like that's actually what they used in Japan. I don't know. I doubt it.
I doubt it. Jinkies, I don't even think is a word, man. Like just as an example. It's like the phrase and expressions they use just like aren't things people say in America. It's possible, and I'm not trying to say anyone's doing a bad job or anything like that at the translation company of Seven Seas, but it's possible they're overworked and maybe aren't familiar with U.S. customs and how we speak.
That's
maybe
probably
they took a
true.
few courses and they got the job that way because they're qualified for it. But like, it's just like when you take Spanish 101 and then you go to Spain and they're like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And like you're speaking Spanish, but it's just not the right jargon.
Yeah. Well, Seven Seas has had issues in the past with their light novel translations. Mushoku Tensei, Classroom of the Elite, and Bloomin' to You just got a big controversy a couple weeks ago. I saw on Reddit. They retranslated this whole thing that was just really off, which I didn't even know about. One of the anthology light novels. Mm-hmm. But obviously Seven Seas has a translation problem, and they still have a translation problem to this day. Clearly. And so I wonder if this is just, I don't know. I haven't seen this in other publishers. So I think that's just another unique thing about Seven Seas that we're stuck between the drastic reprint or the drastic printing problems and the translation issues. It's just Seven Seas is weird,
They're weird, dude. And I noticed that some of my books, they say China, some of them say Hong Kong, China, and some of them just say Hong Kong. And I'm like, where is this coming from?
Right.
I don't get it.
Are the China and Hong Kong volumes, are they the same white paper?
They're the exact same. And you would never even know you have one or the other, except for the fact that I was looking through them because I was like, where are these from? Because I thought it was a weird thing. Time back to the beginning. But like, it's just odd. I was like, why are we like doing this? Like, is it either Hong Kong or it's Hong Kong, China, or you're just trying to be real vague about it, just call it China. But like, why is it all three?
Right. Well, and I noticed with some of the Asian publications of this, so like Yen Press, when they were printing in, I think the South Korean prints, they're the kind of the same idea. It's not that the paper quality has changed because the Yen Press paper quality is pretty consistent across the board. But like the hard, the hard thing here, the hard binding, it's the same thing. So I think that's more of a Asian publication thing, other than Japan. Obviously, Japan is fine, but we don't see that, with the Western prints from U.S. and Canada. So I don't know. No. I don't know, but it's like Seven Seas is the only one that has such drastic ones, where you put two volumes together and they don't even look the same, like remotely. Mm-hmm. And we don't see that with Viz in the Italian prints
No.
or Yen Press in the South Korean prints. It's just we haven't seen that. So
yeah, even the
I don't
Italian
know.
prints, people are complaining that they are so much thinner. Like the pages are so thin that if you put like 10 volumes up together, it looks like one is 9, the other one is all 10 because one's a USA print, one's an Italian print. But this is like, it's almost like a different book, like a whole different edition. You know,
right? Exactly.
It's like it's not at all the same. So if you guys are home and you're like, nah, the Italian prints are way worse, it's like, no, this is like a different thing. This is completely separate than what we're talking about here. This is like a reader experience thing. This isn't like a shelf, like, oh, I'm putting it on the shelf and like, you know, comparing them, you know, this is thinner. No, this is like when you try to read it, it's just obvious. Or if you line them up next to each other like this, neither of these have been in the sun, but it looks like one of them is a little bit worse than the other. Right. So it's just odd. Just an odd beast, all things considered. Oh, all right. So that is pretty much everything that I wanted to cover. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about with this?
I think we've pretty comprehensively talked about the first 3 volumes.
I think so too. I think this is a definitive, discussion of the whole series. If there's ever a gold standard for Yuuna and the Haunted Hot Springs, it's this discussion right here. Okay, I don't think there's any educational or anything, any debate that could possibly supersede us at this point. I think we are the gold standard here on that issue. So, if you want to check it out, I strongly recommend checking it out. We both have rights of affiliate links. Use either one. Use them both. You can use them both. I don't know. I don't know if Rights Sus lets you do that, but that'd be really cool if they do. Click both links, see what happens. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and thank you, Prof, for coming on once again.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Prof and I are going to do another video eventually. I don't exactly know when I'm going to have it up or when we will do it, but we will do it, and look forward to that. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Please like, comment, and subscribe to both our channels down below. Have a good day.